Do you hate the thought of working past 55 or 60? Do you hate not being able to live the life you deserve today? Do you hate not knowing what your financial future looks like? It's time to stop doing what you hate. Here's your host, Mr. Harold Green.
Hello, everybody. This is Harold Green of Braintree Financial Group, and it's time to stop doing what you hate. Hope you are having a fantastic day today. I'm excited to be bringing this show to you. And I wrapped up my series, Get the Money, Keep the Money. Decided to cut that short because as I begin to go through my studies, begin to go through my research, I asked myself, what is it that I should be focusing on the most? I mean, not from a personal standpoint, but from a professional standpoint, and then also from a societal standpoint. And I believe that no one should constantly be, fighting over money, struggling with money, can't get things done because of money, can't live the kind of life they want because of money. That sucks bad. And so if you're tuning into this show today, I'm thankful to be sitting here sharing this with you. But if you want to be in the 3% of people in this country who can retire with everything that they're going to need to last them their entire lives, and then turn around and be a blessing to their children, their grandchildren, we are talking about generational wealth, then the show is for you. But if you don't mind being in the 97%, fighting over money all the time, struggling all the time, can't get things done, shut me down right now, please. Shut it down right now. Because quite frankly, as my mama used to say, it's time out for foolishness. It's time out. It's time, we got to shut it down. And so I'm going to get into a strategy here or something that I think is very important, something that bothers a lot of people. And it's the Social Security thing. And I'll get into that in a second. But I always like talking about my week a little bit, giving you folks a sneak peek into my life. And I hired a PGA Tour professional or, PGA professional, whatever you want to call them. Some guys, they do train people that are pros. But, I don't think my guys train any pros, but it's pretty decent from what I can tell. Diagnosed my issues day one. Could see what I was doing wrong, put me on the camera, did a deep dive into my mechanics, because I'm not a little guy that weighs 100 and something pounds. I'm a pretty big dude. And so it's different techniques for people that are different body sizes and also may have different physical limitations and things like that. And I think financial planning is the same way. We all can't go into a cookie cutter program and then expect it to work out. But you do need to have somebody looking at what you're doing and then giving you tips and pointers. And, once you get the hang of it, you can go out there and fly by yourself, right? You don't need to always have somebody with you. I think it's a good idea that you do, because even PGA Tour professionals, they have their coaches because things can get a little out of whack. You may tweak your knee, then your swing looks a little different. You got to have somebody evaluating what you're doing. So I want to get into today's show, strategies for Social Security. And this information will help you get to the 3%. So are you ready? 1, 2, 3, let's get it. All right. Strategies for Social Security. I do a lot of research. And one of the craziest things I came across a while back was the silly thing with property taxes. And after COVID happened, a lot of states were shut down. They lost gazillions of dollars in revenue. They got billions of dollars in revenue, but that didn't solve the problem. They killed the momentum of their money-making machines. They kept away the tourists because they were all scared that people were going to get sick and die. It's not safe yet. It's not safe yet. And now the more we know, the worse it looks. And here's something that you got to be aware of in your retirement planning. And this is the most overlooked issue that I've seen. There are some city, county, state municipalities that are hemorrhaging tax revenue, right? Hemorrhaging. They don't have enough money. I talked about this before, the unfunded pension disaster, where everybody who's sitting there thinking they're going to get a check at the end of the day may find out that, hey, look, our government here in this state is a little bit short. I've seen an increase in certain types of other taxes and fees, which will make living in those states in the future impossible for retirees or people on fixed incomes. A lot of people have paid off their homes to the detriment of long-term cash reserves. And now their Social Security, their pensions, the other benefits are not enough to help them cover all their living expenses, including their property taxes. This happens when you're myopic in your planning or you miscalculate. And that is very common in the people that are in the 97%. They're constantly they're constantly miscalculating. They're constantly saying, well, I didn't think about that. Well, I didn't think about this. Quite frankly, it's like landing on the moon. When people start planning for retirement, it's so far away, and the slightest miscalculation can be disastrous. You can end up blowing up your spaceship trying to land it, right? You can end up blowing up your financial plan and blowing up your retirement, just trying to stake the landing and get it right. I've seen it happen a lot with a 97%. Okay. Now, I got a couple of warnings I'm going to put out there for you today. Do not pay off your house without knowing if there's a great potential that your property taxes will go through the roof due to the mismanagement of these municipalities. Understand it. If you live in a state, you bought your house, I know, 40 years ago at, say 100,000 and now it's worth $3.4 million. I've seen that, right? I've seen that. The taxes on these places are just freaking darn right impossible to pay, right? These people bought this stuff a long time ago, and now they're older, and their money is not keeping up with the taxes. Their pensions are not keeping up with the taxes. The Social Security is not keeping up with the taxes, and they don't have the long-term cash reserves. They didn't invest in the market. They didn't buy additional real estate properties for income. They trusted in what they were told, and now they're getting screwed. And I'm talking about primarily in the states that are driving their people away due to their ideologies. Right. What they fail to realize is people are now willing to pick up and leave for greener pastures. Texas, Florida, Idaho, Wyoming, Nevada, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Arizona. I can go on and on and on and on, but people are like, yo, we out. We're not going to sit here and put up with this. We are out. And for some people that works, and for some people it does not. No, I'm not saying you have to move, but you're going to have to adopt the 3% mindset. Yeah, you can live in Hawaii, great. You can live in California, great. If you adopt the 3% mindset, that means you'll have enough to cover what you need. So I just want to put that out there. So as we continue on down this road, that's primarily what we're going to be focusing on, is how to get you into the 3% versus being the 97%. All right. Now, here's the thing. For a lot of these places, their tax base is shrinking. And this is what I want to put out there. So if you live in a state where the tax base is shrinking because people are willing to move, you got to watch out for that. Now, what you're going to find is that the people that are living there are either rich or poor. And the rich people can afford to have a house there. Why? Because they can afford to have houses everywhere if they want. But the people that are left there, right, they're the ones that are going to be stuck. And what you're going to find is you're going to see sales taxes are going to go higher in these states. Property taxes are going to go higher. Car registrations are going to go higher. These little simple things can end up costing you $10,000 to $15,000 a year, depending on where you live. And that's one thing you got to watch out for. And the middle class in a lot of these places, they're selling everything and they're burning the bridges because they're not going back. All right. Now, before I get into the meat of this subject, I want to talk about another warning. And this is very important. I find this always, it strangles people and it keeps them in a 97%. Avoid single subject financial strategies unless they can be integrated into a holistic financial plan. I'll come in and someone says, hey, I'm a part of this movement. All right. Hey, I'm a part of that movement. Hey, I'm a part of this movement. Hey, I'm a part of that movement. And I'll get into it in a second, but watch out for Social Security seminars. And I've had people that are not even, I wouldn't say, I don't know, maybe they are like 3 or 4 years out from being able to collect Social Security at 62. And they'll call me and say, hey, why are you not talking to me about Social Security? And I'm like, is it time for you to start drawing Social Security? No, but I went to this seminar and they said that you ought to be teaching me about Social Security. And I said, they who? Who the hell are they? They're the reason why many people are in the 97%, because they are single subject money ideologies. Single subject, right? Single subject. They're just myopic. And I said, look, I got you covered. As a matter of fact, you got so much money, you're not even going to need Social Security. We have set you up. Social Security is the last thing we're going to talk about. And I told them, I said, don't you trust that when the time is right, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know? I said, these people are just trying to sell you something else, right? And they're trying to like separate me from you and you from me. And then they get you over there, and next thing you know, they're moving all your money into an annuity or something. I mean, it is insane the crap that I've seen people do and the things that they use just to like drive a wedge. And then boom, they start to cast doubt. They start to cast fears. Like, what are you being charged? You know, if you just put your money in an annuity, this and that, like, okay, I've seen it. I've seen it time and time again, right? Why are you taking those risks? I've seen it time and time again. Property taxes haven't been factored in. You can't only pull out so much from your annuity. You're on a fixed income at that point. And the only thing I can say is good luck with that, buddy. Good luck with that. But my clients, for the most part, are pretty cool because they'll come and tell me what they're hearing, right? And I'll say, you know what? Try to stay away from these things because we have a holistic financial plan. You don't need to worry about it. Next thing we look at money hiding strategies, tax evasion strategies. There's all these different things out there that draw you in, hook you in. Boom. Next thing you know, you're being chopped up like sashimi, like they got you, and that's it. And here's one of the things I found is that they're willing to teach you how to get started, but not keep it going. And I've talked to other people about this stuff, and it's like, yo, like, how do you make sure that your clients are not going to run out of money? Like, how do you make sure that they can keep the stuff going that you're trying to like show them how to do? And they'll say something really coy like, that's really not my interest. Like, I just, I literally heard somebody say this, and they were selling a product that cost a lot of money, and financing was involved. And I said, like, hey, don't you care if people use this stuff? They said, no, I don't care. We just don't want to push a certain amount of number of products out the door. That's all we care about. And if they can't afford it, that's on them for making a dumb decision. It's like, yo, that's painful. They prey on the 97%. A lot of times the 3% are smart enough not to fall into this crap. Now, keeping a financial strategy going requires three things. Number one, time. Got to have time. Number two, effort. And then number three is money, resources. And I'll research these strategies out there and I'll look at this stuff. And, there's, the good reviews and you got people, hyping it up. And one of the things I always look at is how much time this person has to devote, how much effort are they willing to give it, effort, interest, and so on and so forth. And then how much money is it going to cost to keep it going? Because some of the stuff you got to keep pumping more money in, more money in, more money in, more. And they don't really tell you, the end goal, like what's my delta? Like how far deep am I going to have to go down this hole? And you will need a cash flow management system to pull it off, right? And most of these experts, they don't do that. So I'm going to tell you the cash flow management is what makes or breaks a deal. Now, let's dive a little bit into the Social Security. And I'm not going to give you all these crazy strategies that you see out there because I think it's an illusion to keep you from focusing on the most important thing. Now, the study of Social Security has almost turned into a religion. These groups are almost like cults the way they put that stuff out there. And you have many different camps out there. And here's a few. Now, keep in mind that all Social Security strategies originate out of income planning and not income generation, like fixed income, like bonds. Like this is where the Social Security, it's income based. Like, okay, how much income am I going to have every month? Like what kind of paycheck am I going to have? Like, and it's not an investment theory at all. It's not even about rate of return or anything like that. It's more like fixed income. And there's going to be a big difference, and I'll show you that in a moment, between the two. Okay. So you can take Social Security at 62. You can take it at your full retirement age, which could be 66 and a third or whatever. Or you can delay it until you're 70. You can file into suspend. You can like take your spouse's Social Security, like all these things. But they should be a minute part of your overall financial plan if you're planning on being in the 3%. But if you're in the 97%, which means you're not going to have enough to live on, this is what people like that focus on all day, like these kinds of mediocre things. Like, and I'm not saying that you don't deserve Social Security that you paid into, but just to focus on that, like how much am I going to get back? Like, no, you should be focusing on building something that where you don't need Social Security. So there's When and why to take it? These are all questions that I get all the time. Okay, like when should I take my Social Security? Like when? And my question to them is not when, but why, right? Why do you take Social Security? It's all planning, and it's going to be based on health, and it's going to be based on wealth, the amount of money you have, right? And using it to do things like pay taxes on Roth conversions is very important. Using it to do things such as refinance the house and then use the Social Security to pay the mortgage. That's very important. And you can also use it to fund a brokerage account. And this could work well for you if you take the money early, if you don't need it. Same mindset as waiting until 70. I'm going to run some numbers in a second. But one of the things we talk about is there's three phases of retirement. There's the go-go years. Say you retire at 55 or you retire at like 56, 57. I mean, you still got energy, man. You still can go do stuff, right? For the most part. Like the grandkids they aren't here yet. And you just want to go out and live and enjoy life, right? Those are the go-go years. And then you get the slow-go years. Your knee starts to hurt. Maybe your back is going out on you. You know, your hearing is going out on you. You don't feel good all the time. Like you may be diagnosed with like diabetes or something, or may start having heart issues or something, or something. Your body begins to like nag at you. All right. So you start to slow down. You still do things, but you don't do as much as you used to. And then you got the no-go years. These are the years where like you're looking at going into a care home. I mean, a assisted living facility. This is you're looking at going into the sunset, right? Riding off into the sunset. That's the no-go years. And I tell people all the time, depending on your situation, there's many different reasons for taking Social Security. Like, for example, talking to some clients the other day, and I said, look, I want you to take your Social Security early, and here's why. You're going to be retired. You don't have to worry about going back to work. So we don't have to worry about the penalties for Social Security. You know, if you retire early and then you take your Social Security at like 62, and then all of a sudden you find this great paying job, then it's like, well, if you take your Social Security, then basically what happens is you get penalized, right? They start taking dollars back away from you, which totally sucks, right? And then you have to suspend your Social Security. You have to say, okay, I'm not going to take it because now I have a job because I don't want to be penalized. You can do that, right? There's many different things you can do. But I tell people, if you've been working all your life and you're stressed out and now you have a golden opportunity and you're in your go-go years and everything else on the backside is going to be okay, go ahead and take Social Security now. Take it and then just use it, right? Spend it on the grandkids. Do whatever you want to do with it. It's like free money that we don't need, right? You can do that. Now, I have some people who say, you know what? I'm not going to take it till 70. I'm not going to take it till 70 because I get a whopping 8% increase every single year. I get like a Social Security pay raise every single year. Now, look, this is the same mindset of the matching thing, like the matching with the 401k. It's the same mindset. Well, Harold, I get matching. I get free money. If I just wait, yeah, you can wait. But the question is like, what boat are you going to be in if you did wait, right? Are you going to be better off or worse off, right? And then so you hit 70 and now you slow down and you can't really go anywhere. I mean, what is Social Security going to do for you at that point, right? Especially if you don't need it. Okay. Especially if you don't need it. Now I'm talking about a mindset that I want people to seriously consider adopting. Okay. Now let's talk about the using it to fund the brokerage account. I know not all of you work with me. I know you don't. You may work with somebody else because a lot of people listen to my show. A lot of people all over the country, people listen to my show. This is something I want you to consider. So we're going to look at a comparison here of taking Social Security at 62 and then investing the money. Okay. Or waiting until you're 70 and then taking it. So when I looked up the numbers and I ran some numbers here, and these are, they're not 100% accurate because I don't have someone's Social Security statement in front of me. But let's say at 62, you get $2,000 a month. Okay. You start at 62, you get $2,000 a month. That's 24 a year. But then at, say, if you waited till 66, then it's like $3,000 a month. Right. And then if you waited till 67, it's like $3,200 a month. If you waited till 68, it goes up to like $3,400 a month. At 69, it's like $3,700 a month. And at age 70, it's like $4,000 a month, like $48,000 a year. And, who knows what inflation is going to be at by the time you're 70. And some people say, Harold, they're going to get rid of Social Security. And I said, no, they're not. Because the party that gets rid of Social Security will never get elected again. That's why you always hear these guys talking about, and they want to get rid of Social Security, and they want to and they want to slash your benefits, and they want to it's all politics. These people, they're playing on your emotions. Okay. And if you're tied into the 97%, yeah, you're going to buy that all day, and you will vote for people or not vote for people based on someone saying that they're going to get rid of your benefit. That's the 97%, y'all. I'm telling you. Okay. So at 70 is roughly $4,081 a month. Now, let's say you took and you basically you invested it. Okay. And you did it every month for 10 years. Okay. And you take out basically 10% from that account, right? At that point, let's say at 70, at 10% growth, your total income at this point would be 24,000 from Social Security, right? Because you've been taking the 2,000, but you've been investing it. And then your investment account will give you roughly 28,000 a year. If let's say you didn't lose all the money, because we're not even going to get into averaging or anything like that, but let's just say it does get you 10% a year. Because some years you may get 20, some years you may get 5, some years you may lose. It just depends on the situation of how you're investing that money and what the investment strategy is. But it comes out to about $4,300 a month, right? $4,300 a month, $4,300 a month versus $4,000 a month. But the other thing about it is you didn't need the money anyway. So whether you wait till 70 or you take it early, there's a big difference in that depending on what you do with the money. Now, if you take the money and you just spend it and do whatever you want, that's fine. But if you're looking at comparing, should I take it now or should I take it at 70? I would say take it now and invest it. But it all depends on the time that we are in. And I'm saying this because right now we're coming off of a horrible bear market. The Fed's going to be cutting rates going into next year. As you know, and you look back at history, what it shows. Now, here's the thing. Past performance is no indicator of future results. All investments do carry risk of loss. You got to understand your time horizon, your investment scope, your risk strategy, understand what how much you're willing to lose and how it ties into your financial plan, and make sure you get a professional opinion on this and not just take my advice. It's very important. I always have to put that disclosure out there. History shows this. Every time the Fed starts cutting rates, basically the stock market, it wobbles, it goes down, and then it goes back up. Now, I'm talking about the stock market as a whole. I'm not talking about individual stocks. And there's over 70,000 stocks that you can invest in, not including the stuff that's in Asia, Europe, all these ADRs. I mean, there's tons of stuff that you can invest in. And right now we are in a stock pickers market. But the challenge is most investment advisors aren't stock pickers. They buy mutual funds and they're in a buy and hold strategy. Many of them don't even have their own strategy. They're just looking at funds that you can put money into. They charge you 1%. So if you're working with somebody like that, no, their chances are you're probably not going to take Social Security at 62 because they don't know what to do with the money. Now, I'm not putting anyone down. I'm just saying from what I've seen. I've been doing this for a long time, right? I've seen people come in and they have all these twisted things that they've been told to do. And they were working with someone who doesn't understand fully how to integrate everything into what they got going on. They just don't know, right? And so there's pros and cons of doing this. You could lose the money. That's a real con. The pro is you could have a lot more, right? Lose the principal. Some other ideas for taking the money early is you could fund charitable donations. You can do that, right? If you have a favorite, place you want to give money to, use Social Security to do that, right? Use it to travel, right? I talk to clients about this all the time. You got to learn how to treat yourself. And I'm going to put something out there. And a lot of you guys that are in the 3%, you know this. It is always wise to travel with people of like status. It's always wise. I've found that when you travel with people that are not of like status, it causes a lot of friction. It's problematic. You don't enjoy the trip. And you're like, why did I even do this? Like, why did I even agree to go along with them? Like, oh my God, I can't, you end up biting your tongue. I mean, it's really hard. I can understand if it's family, that's a whole different subject. But if you have friends, and unless you're willing to pay for everything, I'm just saying, you really have to think about this, especially when you go into retirement, because in retirement, you have a lot of time on your hands. There's other people who have time on their hands, but you may not think the same. You may have different ideologies. And I'm thinking if you're friends, you would know that, right? But if you're just getting to know people, this is very important to understand how they think about money too, because some people can have all the money in the world, but they act like they're broke because of the mindset that they have. No real plan for what they're going to do with all the money that they rack up. No real plan. They're just going to die and just leave it to whoever. No real plan. But they love saving money. They love seeing their values go up. They love looking at their statements, and they love just like pounding their chest saying, hey, I'm worth $10 million. They're all into that, right? But you don't want to be like that. You can use that Social Security to offset insurance premiums or long-term care. Some people, I deal with this a lot. Harold, I don't want to pay insurance when I'm old. Do I have to pay insurance premiums when I'm old? In most cases, it's an honest question. But the 3% do understand this. Taxes are not going to be your friend moving down the road. And the insurance policies are used to help offset the taxes inside of your state. If you're looking at money that you're not going to need anyway, this is how you end up creating generational wealth and not just having enough for yourself. You multiply that wealth through reducing your taxes in your state by using the investment returns to pay the premiums on the life insurance, especially if it's money that you're not going to use anyway. Like if it's Social Security and you're never going to use it because you have enough, that's something you can do to help offset the taxes. Like I said earlier, you can use that money to pay the taxes on your Roth conversions on your bigger IRAs. You can do that. Take it at 62 and just, if you got to convert 100,000 a year from your traditional IRA to a Roth, use the Social Security money to help pay those taxes. It's going to benefit you for many years down the road. Trust me, it makes sense to do that. The other thing you can do is you've been putting off all these years and you really want to fix something in the house and, you really want to have a pool or a jacuzzi or whatever, or a sauna or whatever. You can take a home equity line of credit when rates go down, or you can remodel your house to fit your desires. You can make it friendly for you to live in, right? As you age in place. These are all things that can go into a holistic financial plan to make sure that you end up in the 3%, because I want you there. And if you want to be there and you're not working with anybody, or you're working with someone and they haven't told you whether or not you're going to be in that 3%, why don't you get on my schedule, 808-521-4401. Call my assistant. She'll find a hole for you. And we can talk about how to get you into the 3%, because I'm telling you, the gap between the 97 and the 3 is going to become so large. And if you find yourself in the 3%, you're not going to be their friend. I'm telling you now that they will come after you with taxes and all these other crazy things, because they need to help keep the 97% going. And what's going to happen is the 97% will vote for them because they are promising them that they're going to go after you to take care of them. I'm telling you, it's happening now. You have to begin to adopt a different mindset. Okay. And it's hard and it's scary, but it's going to come down to it. You're going to look at it and say, look, it's either me or them. It's either my family or theirs. I'm telling you, and this is not, I can't stress this enough. You have to make sure that you are putting yourself and your family in the best position possible 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road. And that's what we're here to do. And I just wanted to put this message out there. So moving forward, all of our content is going to be based on the 97.3. I may throw some Bible stuff in there, here and there. One of them that I'm looking at throwing in here is going to be based on Proverbs 16. So if you do read the Bible, go read that whole chapter, Proverbs 16, because someday we're going to circle back to that. And we're going to talk about how Proverbs 16 ties into being in the 3%. These are just some practical things that you can do to help you end up in the 3%. Okay. And I'm not saying you're a bad person if you find yourself in the 97%. But all I'm saying is this: in a lot of cases, it's avoidable. You can avoid being in a position where you're not going to have everything you need to live when you retire. That a lot of times it's avoidable. Sometimes it's unavoidable. But if you're in your 30s and you're listening to me now, it's completely avoidable unless you have a tragedy or loss of health or loss of something, right? And that's not normal. Okay. But a lot of times people just ignore what I'm saying. They say, okay, I got time. I just want to spend my money now. I just want to live my life now. I just want to have fun now. Yeah, you're going to pay for that later in a major way. And every single time, unless you come up with some kind of super duper idea to help you make a lot of money in your 50s and 60s, buddy, that's going to be tough. So I just wanted to put that out there to you today. And I pray that it's helping you, and I pray that it helps set you in motion to really, want to get better, want to raise the bar and achieve more. And because it's not only for yourself, it's going to be for your family, and it's going to be for others, because the better off you are, the better off society will be. And I'll just leave it at that. So thank you very much for tuning in. Until next time, everybody, 1, 2, 3, let's get it.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.